All right, so today we're going to go over your concrete project. This is your guys' first real project in here. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of how we do things here. Usually, I'll always give you a rubric how I'm going to grade you. These are for your guys' benefit. Okay, you're shooting for 4s. Make sure you're reading through this stuff to make sure you're doing what I'm looking for to get the best possible grade you can get. There's also directions here. On how you're going to go about this project. There's also a math problem here. You have to show me this math problem. This is not a group project, it's an individual math problem, okay? You have to calculate how much concrete you're going to need for your project and how much water you're going to put in it, okay? I want to see those numbers, okay? So basically, you're going to start at step 1. You're going to cut a piece of OSB, and it tells you to cut it 16 inches by 20 inches. We just got that lumber delivered yesterday. That OSB over there is what you're going to use. All right. We always want to utilize our material the best we can. So, does anybody know how big a piece of OSB comes in from the lumber yard? 4 by 8, yes, or 8 by 4. Okay, so it comes 4 by 8. So you're going to rip one of your dimensions on the table saw, okay, the 8-foot way. You're going to rip a hole 8 foot long by a certain dimension wide. Which one of these dimensions do you think you're going to rip? Thinking about material and not wasting material. You told me it was 48 inches wide, correct? Yes. So if you rip that at 20 inches, you'd have 40, or how much would you have left? 28 inches, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you ripped another 20, you would be wasting 8 inches wide. So you go the 8-foot way. Right. You're going to go the 16 wide is how you're going to rip it on this. That's what I'm saying. So that's going to have to be done as a group. As you can see, if you set this at 16 inches and the rest of the sheet was on that side, do you think it's going to make it by that piece of pipe right there? Well, the 8-foot's going this way, 4 foot that way. Somebody's going to grab a hold of that tube right there. Somebody has to be there and spring that out so the sheet is not catching on that sheet, okay? It'll probably take a couple people back here and one person here. You're going to work together as a group. Do I want you to sit there and rip all of the rips? No, let another group rip the rest of them, okay? So now you've got it cut 16 inches wide, okay? So your next step is going to be able to be cut it how long? What does the direction say? 20 inches, okay. So, will that saw over there cut 20 inches wide? Or no, I'm sorry, it'd be 16 inches wide. No, it won't. Because I told you you can't cut it part way and then flip it over and cut the other side. So what saw are you going to use? So you're going to hang 8 foot way off there? You won't be able to stretch that pipe that far. Okay. You're going to use a circular saw, yes. We have framing squares, we have drywall squares there. I don't care which one of them you use, but your piece needs to be square. So if you cut yours first off the 8-foot rip, you cut you a 20-inch piece off, and you cut yours out of square, or you get off your line and you get it out of square. What's that going to do to the next person's piece? Exactly. So I don't want you to leave it like that though. Re-square it up, cut just a little bit off whatever little bit you have to cut. We have a little bit extra, and cut that off there and square it back up before you take your measurement. Does that make sense? So everybody should be checking their piece to make sure it's square. If it's not square, you're going to get a deduction for that because that's going to throw your block out of square, okay, that you're making. Okay, so you got your OSB cut. Now you're going to cut your 2x4 framework to fit that so it lines right up with the edge of your OSB, okay? The lumber I want you to use is this used lumber over here in these boxes.
That's
now,
what you were saving it for.
Exactly. Now, these longer pieces, you're probably going to have to use longer ones. Do I want you to grab a long one to cut these little ones? No, there's shorter stuff over there. So make sure you're doing that. Also with this, you have to remove it. And you can see we poured one this morning to show you guys how to go about it. We have to remove this when it's still wet so we can finish these edges also. So what did we talk about yesterday? How do you put this stuff together? Do you use nails? Use screws so it comes apart easy and you're not jarring it around. Otherwise, when you take that form off, it's going to fall right over, okay? Because you're pulling around and it's going to crack or something bad is going to happen to you. So make sure you're doing that. So you're going to screw this together. Then, when you fasten it down to your bottom, do you think you want to run them up through the bottom here? No. That would be really hard to get at. This is going to be heavy, okay? You're not going to be wanting to get out here and get down here to try to take your screws out. Run you some screws, and these are longer ones, but I didn't draw them all the way in, but I got it in so it's into this bottom board some, so it holds it on your piece of OSB, okay? So make sure you're doing that. So you get your box together. Your next step is going to be mixing your concrete after you do your calculations, okay? I am not going to go through that process with you, but if you look on here, this has kind of step-by-step directions what you should be doing to figure that out, okay? Some of it I helped you with, some of it I didn't, okay? But you better have that written down here, what you did step by step, or you will not get those points, those credits for that, okay? So our next step is mixing our concrete. So if you could turn that camera over here onto our mixing tub. Now I will tell you, and we did not clean our mess up this morning, but we will this afternoon, because if we leave this, if we leave wet concrete on stuff, what's going to happen? Is it going to come off very good tomorrow? No. No, we got to make sure we're cleaning all our tools up and our work area. Behind that wall over there, we have mop buckets. We're going to get a mop bucket out after we clean up what we can, and we're going to make sure this area is mopped every day, okay? This process here, I do not want you building your box and then trying to pour your concrete the same day. You guys don't have time for that. Your concrete needs to be mixed about as soon as you come in the door in the afternoon, or you're not going to have time for the drying process, okay? And if you don't get it done the first day when you pour your concrete, are you going to be able to come back the next day and fix it? No, it's done, okay? So you only have so much time. So make sure you're starting right at the beginning. So we're just going to start here. You're going to pour, I got two different bags here. I got a pre-mixed concrete, has the stone in it. This is not real good concrete because it has pea stone in it. It's a real small stone. Remember we talked about the two different stones you can have in concrete. What were the two? Round stone, yes. But normally when you order from a concrete company that delivers in a truck, the round stone's big like this. Well, you can see this is as big as the stones are in here. So that concrete's not going to be as strong, okay? But this is the way we're going about this, just to get you the feel for working for concrete. So I put some of that in there. I think I'll let you guys go ahead and mix this. One of you or two of you, however you want to do it. I'll get you started here. So you're gonna, after you figure how much concrete you need, that's the amount you're gonna use in your project. Now, this other bag that I have over here is Portland cement. It is cement. Whenever you use this bag mix, it's not very strong. It don't have the stone in it. Also, they don't put much cement in it. Okay, it's like a 4 bag. It's not very strong, and I want your guys' to be strong. So anytime I ever use this for small little things, I always add more Portland cement because it's not very strong. So what I want you to do is add a couple cups full of this in there. I call it sweetening it up. It makes it stronger. Basically, that math problem is just like following a recipe for baking a cake. Kind of looks like a cake. Okay. Probably wouldn't taste like a cake. All right. You think it will? Okay, so we have some tools over here that you can use to mix it with. Some shovels. So you're gonna put the water in you need. This thing does leak. We kind of man-made it. It's not like a full, usually the tubs are completely metal and there's no seams where it can leak out. Okay, so you can use this to mix it. Okay, you don't want to get your concrete super wet. Okay, so you can use this. Also just a shovel, and you can see I got this bucket over here. It's nice to have water. You can get this tool right in that water and it helps. It don't completely clean it, but it does help. Also, you can use a shovel and go like this and mix this. Has any of you ever had to mix this by hand before in a wheelbarrow or? Okay. So Curtis, you've done this before, so I'll let you get on it. Here you go. I'll let you use this to rake it around. It's not bad. Make sure you get Curtis on the camera. He could be famous. So he's just raking it back and forth. He keeps raking it into the water, trying to soak up all the water. If you do happen to get yours too wet, what we'll do, we'll add a little bit more Portland cement to it to dry it up. Because you don't want it really wet, especially in here. Remember, too much water does what? Makes it weak. Plus, we have to worry about our drying time. Now that's way too wet, Curtis. Why'd you put so much water in there? Okay. So we're gonna add a little bit more. I just want to check how much I got in that bag, so I don't want to add any more of that. Now, I don't care when you guys go to do this, if two of you want to mix at the same time and mix together and have enough for two projects, if you have some leftover, that's okay because the next guy could use it, the rest it up, and it'll work out where we use it all up and we don't have a lot of waste. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure we clean this out of here, and I don't want it thrown directly in a waste basket. Make sure it's getting on top of something so it's not adhering to the waste basket. Wow, did I get some water in that? So like I said, you do not want to get it super wet, and I did. Way too much water. A little bit of water goes a long way. Feel that? Okay, remember this stuff. It's not, if you get a little bit on you, you got to hurry up and run over and wash it off. But make sure you're washing up at the end of the day, your hands. You will feel it. It's kind of like working with drywall. You can feel it drying your hands out. That's not looking too awful bad. Curtis, can I see it for a second? I just want to get it away from that water right there because I don't want it any wetter than what it already is. So that's not too awful bad how wet this is. You wouldn't want it much wetter than it is right there. So then your next process, can you hand me that form there without bumping that other concrete because you'll break it. So once you have it, you're going to bring your project over close to the tub so you can shovel it in there. Take your shovel, get it in the box. Now we're going to get some on the floor. We just got to make sure we're cleaning it up afterwards. Shorter shovel would be nice. Can you move that cord so I don't have that all over that? What's that? Yeah, that's all right. Boy, that stuff is wet. I'll show you a little better. Like I said, we're going to get some on the floor. We just have to make sure we clean it up and not leave it overnight. So, from what we went over yesterday, the concrete's in there. What's our next step?
Yep, we gotta get a board.
A screed board, yes, and I have one right up there. Can somebody grab that for me? So, what is this doing? Yep, it's leveling it out. It's doing all the above. So, you're just going to keep working it across until you get it all the way filled in there. Okay. Now I have some extra here. That's okay. You can just rake it right off. Your extra. We got this way too wet. That's all right. Okay. That wasn't Curtis's fault, it was mine. But I didn't do my calculations, I just guessed. So now once you get to this point, it's better if you get it up on a table to finish what you're gonna do to it. It is heavy, you probably wanna get somebody on the other end. So Wade, can I have you get on the other end with me? Let me get my fingers under it and then I'll pick it up for you. Okay, can you get your hands on?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll walk right over here. If I don't trip over this cord, set it right up on this table. Nice and easy, don't slam it because it'll splash right in the face. Okay, so you got at this point, this is way too wet. I can see it jiggling all over. So what's our next step?
Take the
It would be bowl float, right? But this is so small, we're not going to use a bowl float on it. See what they did with my tools. What is this tool called here?
a meg.
A mag or a hand derby or a hand float, either one. So you're going to take that and you're just smoothing it out, right? So what's this doing other than smoothing it out? What's that? You can, yep. It's smoothing it out, pushing the stones down, cream up. Okay. Now remember I talked about if you had to finish your edges, what would you do? Does anybody remember?
Let it dry a little bit and take the board off.
You're going to have to eventually, but before you take your board off, you want to go, yes, go along, and you don't have to hit it really hard. You're just tapping. And what that does, it helps fill the air bubbles in. Okay?
Definitely seen some air bubbles fill in.
And it's not that it's going to make it perfect, but it does help. So you just want to go around, tap the edge of your board. Okay. So you get to this point, you've hand floated it, you've tapped your edges. What's your next step?
Use a trowel. Take it out.
Not yet.
Take it off.
No, not yet. If I took that off right now, it'd all be right on the floor. Okay. You want to edge, yes. So you're going to get an edger. Find one here. Okay. So you're going to take your edger and you're going to go around this. Now remember, you're going to do this multiple times. The first time's kind of hard because you're getting them stone back away from that edge. After that, you're just cleaning it up. You've already moved the stone, so it's just kind of making it a little neater. So with any of these trowels, just like this, when you bring it this direction, you're keeping this edge up in the air, pushing on this edge. When you come back this direction, you're taking it like this. Same thing for this. You're going to get it down in there, and then you're going to, if I'm dragging it this way, I want to pick this edge up. You got to be careful that you're not digging in this direction. Okay, you got to stay pretty flat, but you're going to come across here, and you're just going to cut that in like that right there. Back the other direction. Okay, and take that back and forth till that edge looks pretty smooth. And you got to be careful. See how I'm leaving a line here?
Yeah.
If you leave that, I mean, at first when it's really wet, it's going to do that. But if you leave that, that's going to show in your concrete. So eventually you want to work those out. So you're going to go all the way around your project just like that, cutting that edge in. down through here. And then back through here. Now, on your project, I do want you to cut a joint in it. What's the purpose of those joints?
So it'll crack. So it'll crack inside.
Right. It doesn't stop the cracks, but it limits the cracks. Okay. I do want that right dead center of your project. So I didn't bring my tape. I thought I did, but I didn't. No one has a tape. How about a pencil? Somebody have a pencil?
I got one. Brett's got one. A nice hard lead pencil.
Perfect. Can you go out there on the desk out there and grab my tape measure? It's an orange tape measure.
Pencil. Huh?
He doesn't want your pencil, man.
That's a nicer pencil.
It is. But I don't want to get concrete all over your nice pencil.
I've got an extra.
I did have a pencil. Remember I dropped it in there.
Yeah.
Did I drop my tape measure in there too?
No.
Okay, so you want to center this up. So measuring outside of form to outside of form, I got 21. So what's half of 21? 10 and a half. Okay, so I put me a little mark here at 10 and a half. Same thing here, 10 and a half. Now, some people, if it's a big long driveway and you're cutting across there, after it got a little bit drier, you could take a dry line, hold it from end to end, snap it, it'll leave you a nice perfect line in there to follow. Can you grab me my screed board there? Another thing that you can do, if it's not too awful long and if you got a 2x4 that's straight enough, you can lay it down as a guide, okay? But I don't want my guide right on my line, okay? Because that would push my line way over to this. So you got to kind of determine how far over that has to be, and you can do that just by eyeballing it. So right there, I'm on that line, okay? Here, I should have about the same distance across to that line, okay? So once you have that fairly close, you're going to cut that across there. So same thing, you got to keep the edge you're pulling towards or pushing up in the air a little bit, okay? So you got that cut in. There you go again. You're going to do that multiple times. It's really wet now. So now it has to go through some drying time before you can hit it anymore. You can see your tools are all dirty. I don't want to leave these tools dirty. I want to keep them nice and cleaned up. So while you're waiting for that to dry, you can wash all your tools up, including your screed board. Okay, I want that stuff all kept up, clean. Now, the little bit of concrete that's on them's fine. I don't want a big hunk of concrete going down that drain, okay? So we're not gonna, that stuff we can scoop up and throw away, but the shovels need to get washed off over there. There's scrub brushes over there to use. So this takes drying time, and that's another thing to help speed it up. It's just like if the wind was blowing outside. Air will help dry it quicker. In here, they were worried about it drying too fast, right? We're not gonna worry about them drying too fast in here because they're gonna dry slow. And this works the same as pouring a porch cap. If you think about something on the ground and you're pouring concrete and there's dirt underneath, what do you think the moisture in this concrete's gonna do? It's gonna absorb a lot of it in the dirt. With this, it can't do that. So where's that moisture got to come out of this? The top. So that moisture is going to keep working to the top. So it takes a little bit longer when you're pouring something that isn't on ground to dry, because the only place that moisture can escape is through the top. So now the cleaning process, there are some scrub brushes over there we'll use, and all of us will walk over there so everybody can see what you're supposed to be doing, and then we'll go ahead and stop that, and then we'll start up again. Now this is drying time, so we just have to wait. I'll let you guys go back to what you were working on, or you can work